I don't think a single card in Magic's entire history should ever be banned. I don't think there should be a banned list or a reserved list at all. I think that every single card Wizards of the Coast has ever printed and sold to the public should remain playable in every single format. Imagine this, you used to play Magic many years ago before there was even such things known as standard and non-standard, before there was even such things as cards that were in rotation or out of rotation. There were two ways to play, one-on-one or global, and that was it. If you wanted to play global, you showed up with whatever deck you had and you played with a round table of however many people you wanted. Could be 3, 4, 5, 6, doesn't matter, it was global. And then you had one-on-one, the regular way to play. And that was it. And then some things happen and you stop playing Magic for many years, but then one of your old friends remembers, hey, you used to play Magic, you liked Zendikar, right? Well, hey, there's a new thing going on with Magic called Zendikar Rising, and I got you this pack here for Christmas. Merry Christmas. And you're like, hell yeah, you know what? I haven't played Magic or even thought about Magic in a while. Let's open up a pack of Zendikar Rising and see what's inside. So you go ahead and peel open the pack, remembering how you used to open packs back in the day with all your buddies and pals way back in middle school, and you start fanning through the cards. Oh, there's some cool new art cards and full art lands. Hey, some landfall stuff, some really cool looking stuff. Man, look at those awesome new borders around the cards. All this is really dope. And you finally come to the end, and holy shit, you pulled Omnath, Locust of Creation. That's super awesome. A mythic rare from your first pack after all this time. That's awesome. You know what? I'm gonna build a landfall deck and I'm gonna put Omnath Locust of Creation in it and let's have some games with my friends. So you go to your friendly local game store and you buy a bunch more packs of Zendikar Rising, buy a couple lands as well, and you get home and you make a nice cool landfall deck out of all these packs, and you get your buddies over and you start playing some games and you have a blast. You have a whole load of fun and you decide, you know what, I wanna really get back into it. I'm gonna go to the local game store, see if they got any standard events or anything. So you go in and you get ready to play a game of standard, and you sit down against your opponent, you shake hands, and you start playing, and a couple turns later, you play Omnath Locust of Creation. Oh, sorry, you can't play that. That card's banned. What do you mean? Well, didn't you read the rules? Don't you know that Omnath is banned in standard right now? What other banned cards are you playing with? Now you look like a fool. You're sitting there, all hyped to play Magic again for the first time in several years, but you can't play one of those awesome cards, the Mythic you pulled out of the pack, because it's banned. How are you to know that it's banned? Should every single person that ever plays Magic always constantly be going online checking the banned list to make sure that their high value cardboard isn't absolutely worthless? Now maybe this little demonstration doesn't apply to a lot of you, but it applies to me, because that's basically what happened with me. I came back into Magic, I realized there was a new game mode called Commander, and I automatically wanted to turn my old global Eldrazi deck into a Commander deck, until I found out that my old Emrakul is no longer viable. It's banned, so I can't play it. Now the point of this video isn't that I want to be salty and make a video about why my Emrakul shouldn't be banned, but I don't think any card should ever be banned, because honestly, with the amount of cards that come out every couple of months that Wizards is constantly doing, there's no need to ever ban cards ever. So let's go over a couple of arguments I hear about why certain cards should be banned. One, they're too powerful. Okay, here's the thing about that. There are hundreds of thousands of different cards in this game and different ways to play decks. And those decks could be played multiple different ways as well with the same cards by different people. There are oodles and tons and a plethora of ways to play this game. A certain card being too strong really should not have that big of an influence on the game itself. Because honestly, let's say that Omnath Locust of Creation is not banned, or any card is not banned right now, and you consider it way too strong. Well, whenever you sit down to play a game with someone, just have the turn 0 talk. What type of deck are you playing? What should I expect from it? And if it has cards in it that you deem too strong, just say, hey, I don't really want to play against that deck. Boom. Problem solved. And if the person refuses to play any other deck, then, oh well, you don't want to play with that person and they can't play with you. That person now is forced to either take that card out of their deck or make a different deck altogether that doesn't have that card that you deem too powerful. And if a card is truly that powerful and there's tons of people playing it, just wait for it to die out. Wizards is making more and more cards at a faster rate than ever right now. And they're constantly reprinting old cards and making new ones at an alarming rate. At this speed that Wizards is going, nobody will care about overpowered cards anymore because Wizards will have moved on and will be printing more and more cards. There will always be new toys to play with, new abilities, new commanders, new cards, all kinds of new shit that Wizards is always making. If a card really does start to get out of hand and becomes too powerful, then all that Wizards has to do is stop making that card. Stop printing that card. They don't need to ban it, they just need to stop printing it. But the price of that card will then go up, you say. Great, let it. Let those who want the card buy it. But then it becomes too expensive for the average person to buy. Then we've automatically solved the issue. You don't need to ban the card, you just wait for the card to get too goddamn expensive for the regular person to buy it, and if someone does want to buy it and they got the money for it, great! Let them. It's their money. They should be able to buy whatever card they want with whatever money they have. And again, even if they do buy that card and they do play it in their decks, if people don't want to face that card because it's overpowered or whatever reason, then they just won't play with that person when they're playing that deck. It's as simple as that. And if for whatever reason a card becomes too powerful, and even if they stop printing it altogether and a lot of people have it and it's just overrunning local game stores and tournaments and whatnot, then Wizards will absolutely just print counters to that card. And then if it becomes a widespread issue, everyone would just start buying the counters to that issue, and then the issue goes away. On top of all of this, how awful does it feel right now if you and your buddies go out and you buy a box of Zendikar Rising and you want to do your own local draft night, and one or two of your friends pulls an Omnath Locust of Creation? That's an awesome card. You should be allowed to play it. And granted, you could all agree amongst yourselves that there are no banned cards at this event and you can all play it, but what if your friendly local game store has a Zendikar Rising draft night, just for the heck of it, and they enforce the ban list and restricted list, and two Omnaths are pulled? What happens to them? Do they just go into the binder and nobody can play them? It doesn't feel good to open up a pack of cards and the rarest card of that set is banned and you can't even play it. At that point in time, it is basically worthless cardboard, unless you're playing in groups or events where they don't care about the banned and reserved lists. At the end of the day, if you can afford a card and you want to play with that card and you have people who are okay with you playing that card in your deck, there shouldn't be any issue. I don't think Wizards should be out here banning and restricting cards for different formats left, right, and center. I honestly think they should just wipe the whole ban and reserved list and let people play the cards that they printed. And in a similar vein, I don't believe erratas should ever be issued for cards either that completely change how a card works. But companions are broken, I hear you screaming. So what? Let them be broken. Let people play the broken companions, because if they are that broken, once again, they will either phase out of people playing them because more and more cards are constantly coming in from Wizards printing factories, or Wizards will see that it becomes a problem because so many people have these companion cards and they will just stop printing them, or they will print counters to them. I don't think you should issue erratas to them, because again, what happens if you pull a card, you think it's awesome, you put it in your deck, and then you play it and someone goes, actually that's not what it says. You have to look up an online errata for what your physical card says. It just feels awful. It's just a bad feeling overall to have to do that. The only time I think erratas should be issued is when they clarify something on a card, or at least make the card more playable for games formats coming out. For example, would be that red wheel card. I can't remember its name, but it used to say both players discard their hand, but they issued an errata where it just says all players now, because if it was only both players, you couldn't play it in Commander, but now that it says all players, you can now play it in Commander. That kind of errata I'm absolutely for, and I think that's awesome. Make the card able to be played in more ways instead of restricting it to only be played in certain formats or banning it altogether is always going to be supported by not just me, but I think a large amount of you as well. It was actually a Skyclave relic, but hey, if you want to see me open more packs of cards, you can check out either this video or this video. Thank you so much for watching. Skål! Thank you very much to my patrons, and a special thanks to Hell's Breach and Mike RFS. Thank you guys so much.